So we're on to round 3 of Formula Drift Pro 2 competition, and it was taking place at Texas Motor Speedway. Normally, we're setting up on Wednesday, going over the car, but this event went a little different. NASCAR was happening. They had so many rain delays that we actually could not get in the track until Thursday morning. So Thursday morning was a very early morning. We went over the car and immediately got it ready for practice. So practice on Thursday was actually going really well. I have driven this track before in this direction back in 2013 in my SR car, but Formula Drift put some new clipping points and zones that were new to me. And driving a completely different car, supercharged V8 versus my SR car, was definitely different to get used to. But overall, I felt pretty good because I knew the general flow in this direction. Unfortunately, as practice went on, I was struggling in outer zone 3. Outer zone 3 is a huge decel area, so basically full lock, slowing the car down and setting up for the final outer zone 4. My steering wheel seemed to be getting stuck at lock, and I was having trouble bringing it back. It was binding, over-centering, so we brought the car back to the pits to figure out what's going on. And the bump stops were just not there. So the car was going past the amount of angle that it should have been, causing the angle kit to bind and not let me bring the steering wheel back freely. So the team added the bump stops back in. We actually put rubber hosing around the bump stop to give it a little extra cushion, a little extra thickness to prevent that over-centering from happening. And then it started feeling really good after that. And I was feeling very confident going into Friday and my battles against Micah Diaz. I had some really good laps Friday morning in our hour warm-up session. Unfortunately in practice, I never got to follow Micah. He followed me, I think, 3 times, but I never got to follow him in practice. So I was just relying on my spotter's information to let me know what he was doing. In my lead run against Micah, I floored it down the straightaway. I snapped to angle really quickly, but then I made a huge mistake. I started to transition maybe a little bit early and too quickly. So the car came around really fast and resulted in me hitting the first inner clip. And because I hit that first inner clip, it also meant that I was too far to the inside of the track, which was gonna make it very hard for me to make it to outer zone 2. I was on a shallow line and I couldn't quite get the car out to fill outer zone 2. So from there, I just continued on to zone 3. I filled zone 3 and tried to make the best I could out of the remainder of the lap. Overall, it was a very mediocre run. I am not happy with it at all. And I had that brewing in my head going into my follow run, which is never a good thing. So in my follow lap, I felt the pressure to really do well. I tried to give him a little bit of space on the run up because I knew my car was a little bit faster, maybe a little more gripped up than his. But when we went to initiate, his initiation just felt a little weird to me. I wasn't quite expecting it. It seemed like he did a clutch kick to a handbrake and then get back on the gas. So I got a little thrown off, I was a little choked up, and I transitioned late behind him, which meant he had a little bit of a gap on me. I knew that I could catch up, so I dove in on outer zone 3 and I started to close that gap through outer zone 4, And as I was approaching him, it almost seemed like he got off the gas for just a split second and then got back on, or I was just coming in super quick. But as I dove in, I all of a sudden felt my rear tires hit the dirt and all grip was gone. It was game over. My car immediately started sliding backwards, and at that point it became a Formula Rally. I completed the course drifting in the dirt behind the track and then got back on track after the finish line. So obviously that's an incomplete, and I was super disappointed. I had been putting down solid laps all weekend, and then when the time counted, I got in my head and I couldn't pull it off. So I was really disappointed. I know I could do better, but unfortunately, that's competitive drifting. You could be the best driver ever, but if you can't put down the good laps when it counts, it doesn't matter. So round 4, the finals, coming up at Irwindale Speedway. I'm excited for it, and I'm hoping that we can close out the season on a good note, and hopefully I can get out of my head. So we'll see you there.